Hello everyone and welcome to the first video of our Learning Hub series. For our first topic, we will be looking at food labelling. Food labels can be really confusing, so we hope that this video will help you to understand them a bit better. So why do we have food labels? Firstly, it allows people to make healthier choices in the supermarket as you can compare the nutritional content of different products. It also provides information about how to store certain foods, which can help us reduce our food waste. Food labels are also important for food safety, as the labels can tell us how to store, use and cook foods, as well as the allergens that are present. This can help prevent us from getting ill as a result of not cooking or storing a food properly, or if someone has an allergy, they can spot an allergen and avoid a particular food product. First up, we're going to look at front of pack nutrition labels. You've probably seen them on the front of food packaging looking like this, or sometimes they are a smaller version like this. Let's actually break down what each part of the front of pack nutrition label means. Often front of pack nutrition labels focus on energy and 4 other nutrients. These are fat, saturated fat, sugar and salt. These labels usually declare how much energy, fat, saturated fat, sugar and salt is in one serving of a food product. However, sometimes it can be shown as per 100 grams as well. In this section here, you will see a percentage. This shows how much one serving of the food product contributes to an adult's reference intake of a particular nutrient. A reference intake is not a target, it is just meant to be a guide for what an average adult should consume. Energy and nutrient requirements vary depending on the individual, so bear in mind that this is an estimate that can help guide you. Looking at this label in particular, it shows that consuming one serving of this product means that we will consume 34 grams of sugar, which is 38% of an adult's reference intake of sugar for the day. As you can see here, this sugar label says high and it is coloured red, so let's have a look in more detail at what this means. These coloured labels are actually called traffic light labels, and these can highlight to us how much fat, saturated fat, sugars and salt are in a food, which can help the consumer be more mindful of their food choices. Green signals to us that there is a low amount of a nutrient, amber is a medium amount, and red is a high amount. Ideally, we should aim to pick products that contain more green labels and less red labels. This example here shows us that the food product is low in fat and saturated fats, as this label is coloured green. We can also see that the sugars is high because the label is coloured red, and salt is at a medium amount because the label is coloured amber. So what are the benefits of front of pack nutrition labels for us? Well, it allows us to make quick decisions in the supermarket about how healthy a product is. But as well as this, we can easily compare 2 or more products side by side by looking at how many green, amber and red labels there are. Like I said before, we ideally want to choose a product that has more green labels and less red labels. Okay, so now some things to be aware of when looking at food labels. The first thing to be careful of when looking at food labels is the serving size that is given on the food label. Sometimes the serving size is not the same as what we would typically eat or drink in one sitting. For example, this Oasis Summer Fruits bottle here is 500 ml, and typically most people would drink the full thing in one sitting. However, the food label on the bottle states that one serving is 250 ml. Which is half of the bottle. So if you were to drink the whole bottle, you would be consuming 86 calories and 20 grams of sugar, which is double the amount which was on the food label itself. Another thing to be mindful of is that most of these food labels show the amount of a nutrient as a percentage of an adult's reference intake, not a child's. So on the food label for this Oasis bottle, 250 ml of the drink is 11% of an adult's reference intake. However, for a child, this would be more than 11%. Another type of labelling on food products is called back or side of pack labelling. Most pre-packaged foods have this labelling, and it is a lot more detailed than front of pack labelling. So let's have a look at what this type of labelling looks like. On the back or side of pack of food packaging, you might have seen a table which looks like this. On the left hand side, you can see different nutrient components, which include energy, fat of which is saturates, meaning saturated fat, carbohydrates of which are sugars, fibre, protein and salt. If you think back to what was included on front of pack labelling, carbohydrate, fibre and protein weren't on this. So back of pack labelling is where you can find information about these nutrients. Typically, back of pack labelling will show the nutrient content of a food product per 100 grams as well as per serving. In this food label here, one serving is half a pot, which equates to 300 grams. You may also see the nutrient content per serving shown as a percentage of an adult's reference intake. And sometimes the reference intake for an average adult is also shown beside this, as it is in this food label here. So overall, there's a lot more information on a back of pack food label, which is handy if you are interested in knowing more information about the nutrient content of a food. So what can we do if a front or a back of pack label doesn't tell us whether a food product is low, medium or high for these key nutrients here? Well, we have provided you with this food label guide to be able to figure this out for yourself. All you will need is the nutrient information for a product per 100 grams. So what I mean by this is to find the fat, saturated fat, sugars or salt content of a product per 100 grams, and you should be able to find this on the back of pack nutrition label. Then you can compare this information with the ranges in the table to determine if your product is low, medium or high in one of these key nutrients. To show you how this guide works, I'm going to go through an example. Here we have a back of pack food label and I have highlighted the per 100 grams column as this is the information we will need for using this guide. Let's start with the fat content of the food. As you can see, it's 19.3 grams per 100 grams. This would put it in the high category as the amount of fat per 100 grams is over 17.5 grams. Moving on to saturated fat. This product has 7.5 grams of saturated fat per 100 grams, which would put it in the high category as it has over 5 grams of saturated fat per 100 grams of the food product. There is 37.9 grams of sugar per 100 grams, which makes it high in sugar. The food is also under 0.3 grams of salt per 100 grams, making it low in salt. As the same with front of pack labelling, ideally we want to consume foods with more green labels than red labels, to ensure that we aren't consuming high amounts of these nutrients on a daily basis. A table full of numbers can be quite confusing, but I hope this example has helped you to understand how you can use this guide in supermarkets or at home. The last thing we are going to cover in this video is allergens. In the UK, there are 14 key allergens that must be declared on pre-packaged food labels. These allergens must be emphasised in some way, such as using a bold, italic or coloured font to allow consumers to easily identify if an allergen is present. As you can see in this ingredients list, celery and barley are both in bold. This will help people to be able to spot this very quickly on a food label. And that's the end of our video. We really hope this has made food labelling a little less confusing. And don't forget to check us out on our social media channels, including Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. We also have a website full of free resources and recipes, so head over to nutritionscotland.org to check these out. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe for more Learning Hub videos.